All right, we're about to dive into a concept that is, well, it's pretty mind-bending. We're going to talk about how to systematically stop the world. And the key isn't about doing more of something, but about mastering the pretty radical art of not doing. So, it all kicks off with this really profound and honestly a little unsettling idea. What if the world you see around you, the one that seems so solid and real, what if it isn't actually out there in the way you think? What if it's all just a story, a description you've been telling yourself your entire life? And that, of course, leads to the big question. If our reality is just a description, what happens when you stop describing it? What's on the other side? Well, let's find out. Okay, so before we can even think about stopping the world, we have to get a handle on how we're building it in the first place, moment to moment. This is where we run into what our source material calls the trap of doing. Now, doing isn't what you think. It's not about mowing the lawn or washing the dishes. It's this constant, humming, unconscious mental activity that makes a chair, and the sky, sky. It's the background operating system that holds our entire version of reality together. You're doing it right now, and you don't even know it. So what are the tools our minds use for all this constant doing? Well, they're known as the 5 hindrances. You can think of these as the fuel that keeps the reality engine running. It's the wanting, the hating, the fogginess, the agitation, the uncertainty, all the stuff that keeps our minds busy building and maintaining our world. And when you let these hindrances just run wild, they create this incredibly powerful force called inertia. It's like a mental cruise control, It keeps us stuck in these repeating loops of thought and behavior. It's a machine running on pure unconscious habit. And this is the very engine of doing. The thing is, this inertia isn't benign. It's what locks us into what the source calls unexamined conditioning. That's just a fancy way of saying all our old reactions or old beliefs that we've never, ever questioned. And it's this exact cycle that ends up reinforcing our own suffering, day in and day out. So, if doing is the trap, how on earth do you get out of it? The answer is as simple as it is profoundly difficult. You have to tap into the power of not doing. And this quote it absolutely nails it. Real power isn't about learning some new trick. It's about learning how to stop performing the old automatic ones. It's about deliberately and consciously interrupting the habits of your own mind. Now, it's so important to get this right. Not doing is not passive. It's not about just spacing out on the couch. It is an active, conscious, and frankly, powerful choice to push back against that relentless force of inertia, to grab the steering wheel and finally switch off the autopilot. So this really lays out the two roads in front of you. On one side, you've got the unconscious path. You're driven by inertia. It just reinforces all the old suffering and conditioning. But on the other side, you have the conscious path. You're driven by choice. And this path of not doing, is what leads to something totally different, the possibility of seeing. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do we actually practice it? Well, this is where the meditative states known as the jhanas come into play. They're basically a step-by-step blueprint for taking apart your reality through systematic not doing. And the process is incredibly methodical. Step 1, you basically starve that force of inertia by putting the 5 hindrances on pause. Once you do that, you can start dismantling the actual architecture of your mind, piece by piece. And the first big piece to go? Something called verbal fabrications. So what on earth are verbal fabrications? It's that voice in your head. You know the one that's probably commenting on what I'm saying right now. It's that constant inner chatter that labels, judges, and narrates every single second of your life. In the jhanas, you learn to let that internal narrator just fall silent. But it goes even deeper than that, which is kind of wild. This process of not doing eventually asks you to let go of even these profound feelings of joy and well-being that can pop up in meditation. Because even those are seen as mental fabrications, subtle activities that are still constructing a certain kind of reality. It's a truly radical letting go of, well, everything. So, what's the whole point of all this? Where does this intense path of not doing actually lead? What happens when you finally actually stop the world? No, really, just think about it for a second. If you stop the wanting, you stop the worrying, you stop the inner voice, and you even let go of the feeling of joy, what could possibly be left? What's left is what the Source calls seeing. This is the grand prize. This is the final accomplishment. It's perception stripped completely bare. It's the ability to experience reality just as it is, without the constant filter of your thoughts, your history, your judgments, your entire description of it. And when that filter finally drops, the world is no longer ordinary or predictable. It is revealed for what it truly is. This awesome, deeply mysterious, and ultimately unfathomable reality. All the magic comes rushing back because you finally stopped telling yourself it was gone. And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. This whole practice of not doing, it isn't just about changing how you see the world. It goes deeper. It makes you question who is doing the seeing in the first place. Because if your entire world is just a description that you are constantly making, who are you when you finally stop?